Jimmy Carter dies at age 100, a retrospective of Jimmy Carter's life. Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter passed away on December 29, 2024 at the age of 100, marking the end of a remarkable life that spanned a century filled with significant achievements, challenges, and an enduring commitment to humanitarian work. As the longest-living president in American history, Carter's legacy extends far beyond his single term in office from 1977 to 1981. Early life and career. James Earl Carter Jr. was born on October 1, 1924 in Plains, Georgia. He was the eldest of 4 children in a family that ran a peanut farm. His father, James Earl Carter Sr., was a general store owner while his mother, Lillian, worked as a nurse. Growing up during the Great Depression, Carter's experiences shaped his values and perspectives. He was a bright student and a star athlete, excelling in basketball. After graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1946, Carter married Rosalind Smith, a neighbor and childhood friend. He served in the Navy as a submarine officer and participated in the development of the U.S. Navy's nuclear submarine program. Following his father's death in 1953, Carter returned to Georgia to run the family farm, where he transformed the business into a successful enterprise. Carter's entry into politics began at the local level, serving on various boards before being elected to the Georgia State Senate in 1963. He was elected governor of Georgia in 1970, where he gained a reputation for his commitment to civil rights and government reform. Presidency, achievements and challenges. Carter's presidential campaign in 1976 capitalized on the public's desire for a reformist leader in the wake of the Watergate scandal. He won the election against incumbent President Gerald Ford, promising transparency and a commitment to honesty in government. During his presidency, Carter faced numerous challenges, including a struggling economy marked by high inflation and energy crises. His administration was known for significant achievements, including 1. Camp David Accords. One of Carter's most notable accomplishments was brokering peace between Egypt and Israel in 1978. The Camp David Accords, signed by Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, established a framework for peace in the Middle East and remains a pivotal moment in diplomatic history. 2. Environmental initiatives. Carter was a pioneer in environmental policy, advocating for energy conservation and the establishment of the Department of Energy. He installed solar panels on the White House roof and emphasized the need to address climate change long before it became a mainstream concern. 3. Human rights focus. Carter made human rights a cornerstone of his foreign policy, promoting democracy and ethical governance globally. His administration criticized oppressive regimes and advocated for the rights of marginalized populations. However, Carter's presidency was also marred by significant crises. 1. Iran hostage crisis. The 444-day hostage situation that began in November 1979 when Iranian militants seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran defined the end of Carter's presidency. Despite various attempts to resolve the crisis, including a failed rescue mission, the situation severely impacted his approval ratings and public perception. 2. Economic struggles. The U.S. economy faced stagflation, a combination of stagnant growth and inflation. Carter's efforts to manage the economy faced backlash, and many criticized his handling of the energy crisis. 3. Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. The Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan in December 1979 further complicated Carter's foreign policy and contributed to the decline of his popularity as he called for a boycott of the 1980 Moscow Olympics. Carter's presidency ended in 1981 when he was defeated by Ronald Reagan, securing only 6 states in the election. His approval ratings were among the lowest for any president at the time, but his post-presidential life would redefine his legacy. Post-presidency, humanitarian work and global diplomacy. After leaving office, Carter dedicated himself to humanitarian efforts and global diplomacy, transforming his reputation from that of a struggling president to a respected elder statesman. His post-presidency achievements include 1. Carter Center. In 1982, Carter and Rosalind founded the Carter Center in Atlanta, a non-profit organization focused on global health, democracy promotion, and conflict resolution. The center has been instrumental in efforts to eradicate diseases including guinea worm disease and has monitored elections in over 100 countries. 2. Nobel Peace Prize. In 2002, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his decades of work in promoting peace, democracy, and human rights. He became the third U.S. president to receive this honor, joining Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson. 3. Global diplomacy. Carter's diplomatic efforts included visiting North Korea in 1994 to negotiate a framework for nuclear disarmament and engaging with various world leaders to promote peace and understanding. His approach emphasized dialogue and cooperation over military intervention. 4. Habitat for Humanity. Carter became a prominent volunteer with Habitat for Humanity, helping to build homes for those in need. His hands-on involvement showcased his commitment to service and community betterment. 5. Writing and advocacy. Carter authored over 30 books covering a range of topics including his presidency, faith, and global issues. He remained an outspoken advocate for democracy, human rights, and environmental stewardship. Personal life and legacy. Carter's personal life was marked by his deep faith and devotion to his wife Rosalind. The couple celebrated their 77th wedding anniversary shortly before her passing in November 2023. They were known for their close relationship and shared commitment to public service. Carter's final years were spent primarily in Plains, Georgia, where he continued to teach Sunday school and engage in community service. In February 2023, he entered hospice care after a series of health challenges, including a cancer diagnosis. Despite his declining health, he remained active in advocating for social justice and human rights until his death. Carter's legacy is multifaceted. He is remembered as a president who faced immense challenges. Yet his post-presidency efforts have led many to view him as one of the most successful former presidents in U.S. history. His commitment to peace, human rights, and ethical governance has left a lasting impact on both domestic and international landscapes. As tributes poured in following his death, President Biden remarked, "America and the world lost an extraordinary leader, statesman, and humanitarian." The recognition of Carter's contributions to society both as president and beyond serves as a testament to his enduring influence on generations to come. Conclusion. Jimmy Carter's life was a journey from humble beginnings as a peanut farmer to the highest office in the land and beyond. His unwavering commitment to service, peace, and human rights defines his legacy and continues to inspire individuals and leaders worldwide. His passing marks the end of an era, but his ideals and contributions will resonate for years to come. Counterintuitive information in the retrospective of Jimmy Carter's life includes several surprising aspects that challenge conventional narratives about his presidency and legacy. 1. Post-presidency success versus presidency challenges. While many former presidents fade from the public eye or remain less involved in political discourse, Jimmy Carter's post-presidential activism has often overshadowed his one-term presidency, which was marked by economic struggles and crises. This reversal of fortune, where his post-presidency is seen as more successful and fulfilling than his time in office, contrasts sharply with the typical trajectory of former presidents who may experience a decline in public perception after leaving office. 2. Enduring African American support. Despite starting his political career in a racially charged environment that included segregationist policies, Carter garnered overwhelming support from black voters during his presidential campaigns. This support persisted even after he faced significant backlash from white voters following economic downturns and the Iran hostage crisis. The resilience of this voter base, despite his earlier alignment with segregationist sentiments, highlights a complex evolution in his political identity and public perception. 3. Human rights advocacy versus political pragmatism. Carter's commitment to human rights and diplomacy is often celebrated, yet it stands in stark contrast to his earlier political maneuvers where he sought to appease segregationists to gain political support. His later strong stance on human rights, including criticism of Israel's policies, seems counterintuitive given his initial political compromises during his rise to power. 4. A crisis management perception. The Iran hostage crisis is frequently cited as a defining failure of Carter's presidency, leading to his eventual electoral defeat. However, his decision to prioritize diplomacy and the safety of hostages over military action reflects a principled stance that contradicts the common image of political leaders who opt for immediate military solutions. This choice, while politically damaging, reveals a commitment to moral values that many leaders may not prioritize. 5. Legacy of environmentalism. Carter was a pioneer in addressing climate change and environmental issues during his presidency, yet he faced significant opposition during a time when such concerns were not mainstream. His actions, such as installing solar panels on the White House, were ahead of their time, and his environmental legacy is often overlooked in favor of his political challenges. This foresight contrasts with the later political landscape where environmentalism gained traction as a critical issue. 6. Complex relationship with Israel. Although Carter is celebrated for brokering the Camp David Accords, his later critiques of Israeli policies, especially in his book Palestine, Peace Not Apartheid, led to significant backlash and accusations of anti-Semitism. This evolution in his stance illustrates a complex and sometimes contradictory relationship with Israeli politics that challenges simple narratives about his role in Middle Eastern diplomacy. 7. Unconventional approach to wealth. Unlike many former presidents who capitalize on their status for lucrative speaking engagements and corporate positions, Carter chose a modest lifestyle post-presidency, emphasizing service over wealth. His decision to return to his pre-political life in Plains, Georgia, and his commitment to volunteer work, particularly with Habitat for Humanity, defies expectations for someone of his stature and age. These counterintuitive elements reveal a multifaceted legacy that complicates the straightforward assessment of Carter as either a failed president or a successful humanitarian. They underscore the complexity of his life and the nuanced ways in which his values shaped his decisions and public perceptions over time. Jimmy Carter's life and legacy are marked by a complex interplay of significant achievements and challenges that many people might overlook in a conventional retrospective. Below are several key aspects of Carter's life and presidency that are often overshadowed yet hold great significance. 1. Transition from segregationist to civil rights advocate. Carter's early political career was rooted in the Jim Crow South, where he initially made statements that aligned him with segregationist sentiments to gain electoral support. However, upon becoming governor of Georgia, he pivoted significantly by advocating for civil rights. This shift is noteworthy because it exemplifies his evolution and willingness to confront deeply ingrained societal norms. His inaugural address in 1971 declared, "The time for racial discrimination is over," a bold statement for a Southern politician of the era. Significance. This evolution reflects a broader narrative of redemption and transformation within American politics, showing that individuals can change their beliefs and align with progressive values. It also highlights the importance of personal growth and leadership, which resonates in today's political climate. 2. Human rights as a foreign policy cornerstone. While many remember Carter for his domestic struggles, his commitment to human rights defined his foreign policy. He was among the first U.S. presidents to make human rights a central tenet of American foreign policy. This included advocating for democracy and human rights in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. And he famously pushed for the inclusion of human rights in diplomatic discussions. Significance. This approach laid the groundwork for future administrations to prioritize human rights issues globally. It also introduced a moral dimension to foreign policy that has continued to influence U.S. diplomacy, demonstrating the potential for a president to redefine national interests in terms of ethical considerations. 3. Post-presidency humanitarian work. Carter's post-presidency period is often viewed more favorably than his time in office, as he became known for his humanitarian efforts through the Carter Center. His work included health initiatives, election monitoring, and efforts to combat diseases like guinea worm disease, which he sought to eradicate globally. Significance: Carter's post-presidential activism illustrates a model for former leaders to engage in meaningful service rather than retreat into obscurity. His actions challenged the notion that a president's legacy is solely defined by their time in office, highlighting the potential for continued impact beyond political power. 4. The Iran hostage crisis. The Iran hostage crisis, which lasted 444 days, is often seen as a defining failure of Carter's presidency. However, the context surrounding this event reveals complexities that are frequently overlooked, including the geopolitical turmoil of the time and the long-standing implications it had on U.S.-Iran relations. Significance: The crisis exemplifies the challenges leaders face in crisis management and the often unpredictable nature of international relations. It serves as a historical lesson on the repercussions of foreign policy decisions and the importance of understanding cultural and political contexts. 5. Environmental awareness and climate change advocacy. Carter was a pioneer in addressing climate change and environmental issues, implementing policies that promoted energy conservation, renewable energy, and environmental protection long before these topics gained mainstream attention. He famously installed solar panels on the White House and advocated for energy conservation during the 1970s oil crises. Significance: Carter's early recognition of environmental issues underscores the long history of climate advocacy in American politics, offering a counter-narrative to the perception that environmentalism is a recent phenomenon. His actions provide a blueprint for integrating environmental considerations into national policy. 6. Personal faith and politics. Carter's deep Christian faith significantly influenced his political philosophy and decisions. He often spoke of the intersection between his religious beliefs and his public service, asserting that one could not be divorced from the other. This aspect of his identity is often minimized in discussions of his presidency. Significance: Carter's faith-driven approach challenges the secularization of politics and illustrates how personal beliefs can shape governance. As political discourse continues to grapple with the role of religion in public life, his example remains relevant. 7. Nuclear non-proliferation efforts. Carter played a crucial role in promoting nuclear non-proliferation, emphasizing diplomacy over military action. His administration sought to control the spread of nuclear weapons through treaties and negotiations, such as the SALT II treaty with the Soviet Union. Significance: In a world still grappling with nuclear threats, Carter's commitment to non-proliferation is a vital part of his legacy, demonstrating the importance of diplomacy in addressing global security challenges. His efforts continue to influence contemporary debates on nuclear disarmament and international security. Conclusion: Jimmy Carter's life and legacy extend beyond the confines of his presidency. His journey from a segregationist politician to a global humanitarian, his commitment to human rights, and his pioneering environmental initiatives are critical aspects often overshadowed by the challenges he faced in office. Understanding these elements provides a deeper appreciation for Carter's contributions to American society and the world, emphasizing the complexities of leadership, the capacity for personal growth, and the enduring impact of public service. 1. Carter's dual legacy, presidency and humanitarianism. Jimmy Carter's presidency 1977 to 1981 was marked by significant challenges, including high inflation, the energy crisis, and the Iran hostage crisis. Despite these hurdles, he achieved notable international successes, most prominently the Camp David Accords, which established peace between Egypt and Israel. However, his post-presidential years overshadowed his time in office as he dedicated himself to humanitarian work through the Carter Center, focusing on human rights, disease eradication, and democracy promotion. This dual legacy, one of a troubled presidency and an impactful humanitarian, highlights the complexities of his public life and the evolution of his reputation over time as he transformed into a respected figure on the global stage. 2. The impact of the Iran hostage crisis on Carter's presidency. The Iran hostage crisis was a defining event of Carter's presidency, leading to a significant decline in his popularity and ultimately contributing to his electoral defeat in 1980. The crisis, which began when Iranian militants seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, lasted for 444 days and underscored perceived weaknesses in Carter's foreign policy. His administration's inability to secure the hostages' release through diplomatic or military means created a narrative of ineffectiveness, overshadowing his earlier achievements and framing his presidency as a failure in the eyes of many Americans. The crisis's impact on public perception, national morale, and Carter's subsequent loss to Ronald Reagan illustrates how foreign policy crises can shape electoral outcomes and historical legacies. 3. Carter's human rights advocacy and controversial positions. Carter's commitment to human rights was a cornerstone of his political identity, evident in both his presidential policies and his post-presidential activism. He championed human rights on the global stage, promoting democracy and criticizing authoritarian regimes. However, his later criticisms of Israel, particularly in his 2006 book Palestine, Peace Not Apartheid, sparked significant controversy. His characterization of Israeli policies towards Palestinians as akin to apartheid drew backlash from supporters of Israel and led to resignations from the Carter Center's advisory board. This tension between his human rights advocacy and the backlash he faced highlights the complexities and challenges of addressing sensitive geopolitical issues, as well as the often polarizing nature of political discourse surrounding them. 4. Carter's unconventional political journey and redemption arc. Jimmy Carter's political trajectory, from a peanut farmer and outsider in the Jim Crow South to the presidency and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, illustrates a unique narrative of personal and political transformation. Initially adopting segregationist policies to gain political traction, he evolved into a proponent of civil rights upon becoming governor of Georgia. His pursuit of the presidency during a time of political disillusionment resonated with voters seeking honesty and integrity. After his presidency, he successfully rehabilitated his image through extensive humanitarian work, earning respect as one of the most active and engaged former presidents in U.S. history. This redemption arc emphasizes the possibility of transformation in public life and the enduring impact of dedication to service and moral principles. 1. George H. W. Bush. George H. W. Bush served as the 41st President of the United States from 1989 to 1993. His presidency was marked by significant foreign policy achievements, including the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War. Like Jimmy Carter, Bush faced significant challenges during his presidency, including a domestic economic recession. After leaving office, he remained active in public service and humanitarian efforts, including partnerships with former political rivals for charitable causes. He lived to be 94, passing away in November 2018, and was remembered for his commitment to service and diplomacy, mirroring Carter's post-presidential humanitarian focus. 2. Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, served from 1969 until his resignation in 1974 amid the Watergate scandal. While Nixon's presidency ended in controversy, he later worked on rehabilitating his image through writing and diplomacy, particularly in his later years. His post-presidential career included significant diplomacy with China and a focus on international relations. Nixon's complex legacy, including his foreign policy successes and domestic challenges, parallels Carter's own mixed legacy in terms of accomplishments and public perception. 3. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, the 40th President, served from 1981 to 1989 and was a significant figure in both American politics and global affairs. His administration is often credited with ushering in a new conservative era in American politics. After leaving office, Reagan maintained a strong public presence and was actively involved in various causes, including Alzheimer's awareness following his own diagnosis. Reagan's emphasis on optimism and his later reflections on his presidency resonate with Carter's efforts to shape his legacy positively after leaving the White House, highlighting the evolution of former presidents as public figures. Future outlook, predictions for the legacy of Jimmy Carter. As we reflect on the life and legacy of Jimmy Carter, who passed away at 100, it is essential to consider how his contributions to politics, humanitarian efforts, and global diplomacy will shape the future. Carter's presidency and post-presidential endeavors provide a framework for understanding evolving political landscapes and humanitarian initiatives. 1. Political legacy and reform. Carter's commitment to transparency and ethics in government will likely influence future political leaders. His declaration to never lie to the American public resonated during a time of political disillusionment and continues to inspire calls for integrity in governance. As younger generations of politicians rise, we may see a renewed emphasis on ethical leadership spurred by Carter's example. Moreover, Carter's experience as a one-term president who faced significant challenges can serve as a cautionary tale for future leaders. His struggles with economic crises and foreign policy, particularly the Iran hostage situation, highlight the importance of resilience and strategic decision-making in high-stakes environments. This may prompt future leaders to prioritize effective crisis management training and diplomatic engagement to navigate complex international relations. 2. Humanitarian efforts and global health. Carter's post-presidency work, particularly through the Carter Center, set a precedent for former presidents engaging in humanitarian efforts. As global challenges such as poverty, disease eradication, and human rights abuses persist, there may be an increase in initiatives led by former leaders advocating for social justice and global health. Future former presidents could follow Carter's model, using their platforms to address pressing issues like climate change and public health crises. The Carter Center's focus on eradicating diseases such as guinea worm disease exemplifies how targeted humanitarian efforts can yield significant public health advancements. As awareness of global health issues grows, we may see a rise in collaborative efforts among nations, NGOs, and former leaders to tackle similar challenges, fostering a spirit of global citizenship. 3. Environmental advocacy. Carter's early recognition of climate change and sustainable practices positions him as a pioneer in environmental awareness. As the urgency of climate action escalates, his advocacy may inspire future leaders to adopt more robust environmental policies. Initiatives promoting renewable energy conservation and climate justice could gain momentum, reflecting Carter's vision of a sustainable future. Carter's installation of solar panels on the White House roof serves as a symbolic reminder of the importance of renewable energy. As energy transitions become central to national policies, his influence may lead to more comprehensive climate action plans and the prioritization of green technologies in political agendas. 4. Diplomatic engagement and peacebuilding. Carter's successful mediation of the Camp David Accords exemplifies the potential for diplomacy to resolve long-standing conflicts. His approach to international relations, emphasizing dialogue and mutual respect, may shape future diplomatic efforts. As the world grapples with rising tensions, the importance of negotiation and peacemaking will likely become even more pronounced. Future leaders may look to Carter's legacy as a blueprint for conflict resolution, promoting peace talks and multilateral agreements to address global issues. Given the increasingly interconnected nature of international relations, the principles of diplomacy championed by Carter could foster greater global cooperation. 5. Inspiration for grassroots movements. Carter's emphasis on community service and grassroots activism may inspire a new generation of civic engagement. His hands-on approach to building homes with Habitat for Humanity exemplifies the impact of local initiatives on broader social issues. As younger individuals become more politically active, we could see a resurgence of grassroots movements focusing on social justice, equality, and community development. This shift may also foster a culture of service-oriented leadership, encouraging individuals in positions of power to prioritize the needs of their communities and advocate for policies that promote social welfare. 6. Re-evaluation of presidential histories. As historians and the public continue to reassess Carter's presidency, there may be a broader recognition of his contributions that transcend the challenges he faced. This re-evaluation could influence how future presidents are judged, emphasizing the importance of long-term impact over immediate political success. The narrative surrounding Carter's presidency may encourage a more nuanced understanding of leadership, where moral integrity and humanitarian efforts are valued alongside traditional metrics of success. In conclusion, Jimmy Carter's life and legacy offer a rich tapestry of lessons for future generations. His unwavering commitment to ethics in politics, humanitarian efforts, environmental sustainability, and diplomatic engagement provides a roadmap for addressing contemporary challenges. As we honor his contributions, the ideals he championed will likely continue to resonate and inspire future leaders and citizens alike, fostering a world that values peace, justice, and service.